Hello everyone, this is Mancy once again, and back to reviewing more Batman movies. And lastly, I reviewed The Dark Knight Rises. I have not reviewed Joker yet, but probably review that as a bonus. But today is my review of The Batman, which of course I got this from Dad, so all thanks to him. And of course, I just wanted you to know that the reason why I have not reviewed this movie yet because I wanted to go see it for the second round. Yep, I saw this movie 2 times in a theater here because I just need to collect my thoughts on seeing this one before I reviewed it. Because I've already saw it for the first time because I got invited to a special watch party event from the people at Batman on Film, and especially meeting a dear friend of mine named Peter Vera, the man who wrote the article about me about the Schumacher cut. So, Pete, if you're watching this, thank you once again. I'm happy to meet you for the first time, especially you're the guy who wrote an article about me when I gave you that message about Akiva Goldsman about the original cut of Batman Forever here. So, thank you. You are awesome. And of course, yes, folks, we are still selling shirts for the Schumacher cut here. So this is your last call to get one, as all donations will be going to the American Cancer Society as they're available on the Ink to the People website. So I'll put the link below the description if you have not ordered your shirt yet. So of course, this is what my ticket looks like here, which of course Dad ordered it for me, which we got to see it for the 4:30 p.m. showing. Unfortunately, we didn't get to the 4 p.m. one because it was packed, but we ended up doing the 4:30. But at least I got invited to the watch party screen. So, and before I show you this ticket here for the second round, even during that watch party, I got this, which is a pretty cool looking shirt. I have not worn it yet, so thank you to everyone at Batman on Film for giving away these shirts here. So it was a lot of fun. I got to meet everyone there. I got to meet Garrett, got to meet Rick Shrew, and got to meet Pete Vera, as I said, and other people I met. And I think I did see Bill Ramsey as well. Of course, we didn't have a chit chat at all, but he was there. But very nice guy. So, and of course, yes, I actually got my ticket here, which of course this is when I saw it for the 2:15 showing at the Cinemark Theater. So, but yeah, I got to see it for the second time, and for the first viewing, I loved it, and now for the second time, I love it even more. Which is very rare for me to go see a movie for a second time, because the first one I went to go see it for a second time was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which I saw that movie 2 times because my brother Johnson got to miss out on seeing the last parts of the movie because he was having a hard time trying to go to the bathroom. And then in 2008, I went to go see The Dark Knight for the second time, which of course the first one I saw in IMAX and I saw in a regular theater. And now, of course, for this film, I went to go see it 2 times. And no, there will not be a third time here because I felt like I think I've seen the movie enough. But I'll see it again once it comes to HBO Max and hopefully get it on Ultra HD Blu-ray. But yeah, the Batman, wow. Of course, as you know, the movie itself is really not a direct sequel to any of the other DC movies or any connection to the Ben Affleck ones or Nolan's. This is pretty much more like a fresh start. And definitely, of course, it doesn't retell the origin story of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman because you get the idea. They're pretty much just like that the Riddler exists, the Penguin exists, Catwoman exists, and Batman exists. But, of course, Jim Gordon himself is not commissioner yet, as he remains himself as a detective. So, but, yeah. And, of course, before I give you more of my thoughts on the movie, I just want to let you know that this video is going to contain spoilers. So, once I will let you know, you'll see and hear some potential spoilers. So, but anyway, the Batman, I gotta say, is definitely one of Matt Reeves' greatest achievements, and probably my favorite he's ever done. I mean, I've been a fan of his since he made movies like Cloverfield, the 2 plenty of sequels, Dawn and War, as well as the right one in remake, Let Me In. His first film, The Pallbearers, not really that much. Pretty much one of his forgettable ones, which I like to treat Cloverfield as his actual first film. So, love Cloverfield, Let Me In, and the 2 planned sequels, and now we have the Batman. So, it's pretty much more like watching a detective film noir story if you like to learn more about the mystery and the detective aspects of Batman, and definitely more of a Batman you want to be afraid of, which does have some horror film elements there. So it tells the story of Batman and Commissioner Gordon trying to solve all these riddles of a Zodiac killer known as the Riddler, as they're trying to discover for who he is and especially for what he's planning to do. So it's one of those movies you could just sit back and enjoy the detective film noir stuff. If you like film noir movies that you grew up loving from the past, like the 30s and 40s, or the last time I ever had a Batman film that has that film noir feel, which to me personally is the original 1989 Batman film, which that film had like a film noir feel to it. The Nolan films, unfortunately, don't have film noir stuff, but they do have aspects that involves with crime, which, of course, that's just like what the 89 Batman film did. Even The Dark Knight, for example, was also more of a crime movie, which it took influences from the movie Heat, which I really love. Now, this one, of course, it still follows the crime aspects, but more on the detective aspects and the horror aspects. And if you like Tim Burton's Batman, that's more stylistic for a world Gotham doesn't exist, while keeping it grounded in reality like the Nolan Batman movies, then this is for you. That it took some of the best films from each of the Batman films and make it look like its own thing. Tim Burton meets Christopher Nolan. But if there's any Joe Schumacher stuff, which of course someone just pointed on Twitter here, the Riddler's glasses, it looks exactly like the one that Jim Carrey wore in Batman Forever here, if you've been noticing that on social media. And of course, yes, the visuals of Gotham City, I will say, is definitely the best looking Gotham City I have seen for a long time since Burton's Gotham City and Schumacher's Gotham City. Whereas Nolan and the Snyder's, they were more like, they keep it grounded in reality there. But nevertheless, I do love the way how they look for both of their universes for Batman, whether it's Christopher Nolan's Gotham City or Zack Snyder's Gotham City. For Ben Affleck, I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be the same as Snyder's, or probably we haven't yet to see before, since I know everyone's campaigning for Ben Affleck's return to play Batman if he's ever going to get his own solo movie, which I hope for that too. And yes, even though I do love this movie, I do love to see Ben Affleck continue on the role as Batman. And no, I don't want to get involved with the whole Flash thing, thinking that Ben Affleck's done with the role, because if you've seen one of those posts that Ezra Miller posts on Instagram where he makes fun of that part, saying this will be the last time Ben Affleck's Batman, he just put ha 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 on it, which means he gave a little hint that there still could be more to Ben Affleck, to see more of him as Batman if he appears in any other DC properties, especially for the Snyderverse getting restored. So, other than the look of Gotham City, which I thought it looked breathtaking to look at, the cinematography by Greg Fraser, it's beautiful to look at. I love some of the shadowy night times, the silhouette shots, and definitely knows it actually looks like you're just seeing a painting coming to life. And the music by Michael Giacchino here, which of course I have been a fan of his since he did scores like Super 8 and The Incredibles and Jurassic World movies, and of course even scoring some of the Spider-Man movies. But his work on the Batman score, it's actually one of the best Batman scenes I've heard ever since I love the Batman scene, whether it's like the 60s, the Sherry Walker score from the Anime series, / Mask of the Phantasm, Danny Elfman score, Elliot Golden Souls, Hans Zimmer / Jason Howard, and Junkie XLs. And especially that music is like when Never Leave Your Heaven here, that bum, 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 bum. And I really love hearing the Catwoman scene, which of course I did listen to that scene on my iPhone, which is sounds like if you would have heard it in a jazzy club or something when you're getting a romantic involved with what you call the feminine fatale. So it just makes me feel more relaxed when I hear that music. And the casting, I would say, is definitely spot on. Paul Dano as Riddler is actually probably the best interpretation of Riddler we have for a long time. You know, I really like what Jim Carrey brought to the role as Riddler here, but it's really cool to see we get an updated version of the character who is actually more like a Zodiac killer. Even the movie itself, of course, but of course, other than Birds of Nolan, which I don't want to forget, it does have a bit more like a David Fincher-esque vibe to it when you think of movies like Zodiac and obviously the movie Seven. So it's definitely like the closest you're going to get to if what if David Fincher have made a Batman film. And Colin Farrell is actually very unrecognizable as the Penguin, because you just don't see Colin Farrell, you just see the Penguin, and the makeup is incredible to look at. And Zoe Kravitz, following on from the two actresses that I love who play Catwoman, like either it's Michelle Pfeiffer and Hathaway, she's also another great addition to the best actress who has portrayed the character of Catwoman. And definitely a bit feisty, just like the Michelle Pfeiffer one. And John Turturro is really good as Carmine Falcone, or Falcone, however you want to put it. And of course, Andy Serkis is always great as an actor. I love what he does for each film he's done, especially for his role as Caesar in the Planet Apes movies. And he's also another great addition as Alfred, next to actors like Jeremy Irons, Michael Caine, and Michael Goff. And of course, yes, let's talk about Robert Pattinson. Yes, I knew who Robert Pattinson was ever since he was Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter: The Goblet of Fire, and mostly you always recognize him to death as the sparkly vampire Edward Cullen in the Twilight movies. But he has gone to do other things in his career, especially one I saw him in called Good Time, which I thought he was really good in the role, gave a good dramatic performance. But this movie, he is no longer Edward Cullen. From now on, Robert Pattinson is Batman. And I think he is already becoming another great Batman next to the other actors who portray the character. Whether I love is Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Christian Bale, and yes, to all the Snyderverse fans around the world, Ben Affleck. Which is kind of weird, actually, because I always thought that Ben Affleck was going to be the second producer of this film, but I guess that's not really the case, because I remembered he was going to only produce the film since he already passed on to someone to make their Batman movie, but I don't know what happened, but maybe they just took his name out of the project, or maybe it's because he just wanted to be only associated with the Snyderverse world, but what do I know? But I know he is coming back as Batman in the Flash movie, along with Michael Keaton returning, which I'm looking forward to that. Unfortunately, which of course the movie is not coming out this year because it got delayed because of COVID reasons, but it's only getting pushed till next year in 2023. But hey, since we're in 2022 and there's not that many decent movies coming out this year since they've been pushed to another year, maybe it's possible you could release the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever as well as release the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. So, I do like Robert Pattinson, and I thought he was really good in the role. I thought he really catches the persona of Bruce Wayne, especially he's not really the playboy type. More like what Matt Reeves describes as he sort of has that Kurt Cobain look, which that's like one of his influences for the character of Batman. And of course, even watching this movie, there's definitely a whole lot of Batmans than there is as Bruce Wayne. Because even though for Nolan, they always balance it well for Bruce Wayne and Batman at the same time, whereas Dark Knight Rises, there are some Batman there, but mostly it's on Bruce Wayne, but that was all done for a reason because Nolan wanted to make it more like a character study for the Dark Knight Rises. And they're per the Batman films, the Tim Burton ones, I mean, even of course that there was a lot of Bruce Wayne and Batman in that film as well, but really I know that people get more attention is the villains. But I digress because I think there's still enough footage of Michael Keaton in both of those films as they pretty much want to keep a mystery and have him high in the shadows about wanting to know like why is he always dressed like a bat and so on and so forth. But even though Val Kilmer tried to dive into the psychology of the character here for what he was in the comics, but unfortunately, especially, wait for the Schumacher cut. George Clooney would have been a great choice as Batman. I mean, he is. It sounds like a good choice, but unfortunately, Ken Helmsley's working on the bad script. Christian Bale, I don't need to say more. Christian Bale is great, and he still is fantastic, and still is one of the best Batmans out there. And of course, even Ben Affleck, of course, which, like Michael Keaton, they still keep making dads where it's like, no, this guy can't be Batman. But when Ben Affleck came in, he won everyone over. And now we have our Pattinson. History still repeats itself that you're always heavy on, I wish this guy was Batman, or this guy was Batman, which I don't know who do you expect, like a big muscular guy or whatever, but I thought Robert Pattinson is perfect in the role, especially that he was meant to portray like a younger version of the character itself, aside from like Tom Holland as the younger Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield or whoever. But yeah, none more I can say except he was really good, and I thought the costumes are pretty good. I thought the Riddler was more interesting to look at, especially he doesn't have the cane and the hat and all that and the mask, but more like a different kind of mask, but with the glass on, as opposed to be what the director wants, had the more of that Zodiac killer vibe. And I do like the look of Catwoman, which I thought the mask itself, I thought it looked fine. Sure, she doesn't wear her iconic mask, but I'm pretty sure when they're going to do a sequel, they're pretty much going to change her mask and so that she'll look like the character from the comics. I think they're just like building her up to it. I actually do like the look of the Batsuit, of course, which I love the way how more caliber and how armored it is, especially if Batman has to fight through. I do like that the best so you could actually pull out in order to cut things or open windows and such. And I do like the cowl itself. And the Batmobile, I will say, is actually a cool looking car, which I love as much. I like the 60s Batmobile, Tim Burton's, even the Batman Forever one, which is actually, I begin to appreciate more often. And I like the Tumbler itself from the Nolan Batman movies. And I do like the one in BVS. But of course, when you get to the Snyder Cut Justice League, you actually will see a Batmobile that looks more like the one for the Dark Knight Returns, which you know that Snyder is a fan of that graphic novel. And the pacing of the movie, even when I first saw it, it was pretty good. But there are times I felt like, but you could have cut down a bit. But watching it again for a second time, it got better as the pacing went through. But sure, there are times you can feel the length of it, but it still kept my interest of what is going on. So, yeah, so I'm about to get into spoiler territory. So if you've not seen this movie, check it out. I really love the Batman. It's still showing in theaters and doesn't come to HBO Max until April 19th. So overall, I'm gonna get the Batman an A+. So my favorite Batman movies are Batman '89, Nolan's trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy, Lego Batman, The Batman by Matt Reeves, and of course, Mask of the Phantasm. So now, I give you my rating of the movie. Let's get into, of course, spoilers. And while that you do have the Penguin and the Catwoman in the Riddler's movie, there is this one particular villain that somehow does make an appearance in this movie. And of course, if you do remember the scene in the movie where after the Riddler's plans had been thwarted by Batman, as Batman was able to save everyone at Gotham, as of course, toward the end of the movie, when Batman sees one of the Riddler's gang saying, like, his line in the movie, which I will say that is actually a pretty cool way to introduce Batman, like you saw in the trailer here, when the guy goes, "What are you supposed to be?" And Batman just brutally beats the guy up, and he just goes, in that awesome voice, "I'm vengeance." Which, of course, you'll hear that later toward the end of the movie, during the climax, where one of the Riddler's guys saying, I'm vengeance. Which, of course, that Batman begins to realize for what he is becoming. So, Batman has pretty much does the heroic thing by, getting himself stabbed by one of those electricities, like from the power cord, and then he heads on the water, and then finally turns the flame on, and then asks the people to take his hand, which at first people were like, are iffy on, but one child takes Batman's hand, as it's supposed to show that Batman wants to become a symbol of hope. And then, of course, he begins to realize that vengeance is not the way to go, as it shows that for this character that he is going through an arc, that he starts up the Batman who's always filled with rage and filled with vengeance, but then later on he realized that vengeance was not the way to go. Especially, he needs to learn about how to be Gotham's greatest protector as they want him to be, and not what he was earlier in the film. Which, of course, it leads to, of course, obviously, is you do get Barry Keoghan, which I can't pronounce his name, but he appears in the movie, but he's only listed as unnamed Arkham prisoner. But when you use the word clown, you just realize that you just saw the Joker making a cameo in the movie. And honestly, I thought it's pretty cool that the Joker makes an appearance in this movie, because I know we've gotten to see like Jack Nicholson's Joker, Heath Ledger's, Jared Leto's, and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, as well as Cesar Romero's. So this one Joker, I'm curious to see what Matt Reeves can bring. So, but of course, I know that Matt Reeves said that he's not going to be the main villain in the sequel, but he can always pop up whenever he shows up. So we never know once the sequel does get made. And of course, I actually thought it was pretty interesting to see that Catwoman's father happens to be one of the mob bosses, Carmine Falcone, which of course that never happened in the comics, so that was only made for the movie. Which, of course, I will say, even the movie itself can be very ambitious in its own right, which I know Nolan made it very ambitious for The Dark Knight Rises, the way out he tell. Because when you're a filmmaker, you always gotta make changes to see what works and what doesn't work. Especially that's like the passion about filmmaking, because you can just do whatever you want to create your own universe for the character of Batman or Spider-Man or Superman, Power Rangers. Which, of course, I can't believe it's been 5 years since that movie came out, and I still love that movie. And I wish I had a sequel of that film instead of another reboot, but I digress. So, yeah, that's all much spoilers I can say about this movie here. So, if you've been watching spoilers, then, well, surprise has been ruined. But if you did not see the rest of the video, then you'll be in for a surprise once you see the film. But, yeah. So, that's my thoughts on the Batman. I had a great time seeing this movie ever since I saw it in Plano, Texas, and still thankful for Pete Vera for inviting me to the watch party, especially getting that shirt right here. And it was cool to see it again for the second time, which is very rare for me to go see movies more than one time, but I'm happy I did. And we'll see where the next one's going to go. And yes, folks, in case you didn't catch what I said in the video, and I'll say it again. Do I still want Ben Affleck to return as Batman? The answer to your question is yes. So, anyway, thank you all for watching. Take care. And if you have seen the Batman, please feel free to check it out. If you want to share your thoughts, please feel free to put your comments down below. And also don't forget the subscribe button. So, and also, of course, what is your favorite Batman? Who is your favorite actor to portray Batman? Who do you think is the best Batman? Is it Robert Pattinson? Is it Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer? Or is it really Ben Affleck? So, let me know. So, thank you for watching. Take care. And thank you so far for enjoying all the bad movies I review on this playlist here. And now I gotta do one for a bonus, and it won't be the Adam West Bad movie, which I'll say that in another time. So I guess I'm gonna cap it all off. I guess I'm gonna review the one movie I have yet to review that was recently in theaters in 2019 until I got the 4K Blu-ray. And this one involves the Clown Prince of Crime, Joker. See you later.